Hi, my name is Roz Humphreys, and we have been doing the Do You Know God's Love series. And today we're going to be talking about how your generosity can change your life. Your generosity can change your life. So, when we see that God is a rewarder, He is very generous. The way that He blesses is very generous. Jesus always talked about how everything that He came for was to basically give us an abundant life. And He was generous in everything that He did. A lot of times we just think about money, right? We think about this. And Jesus was generous with His friendship. Jesus was generous with His compassion. Jesus was generous with His love. There's so many things that can be done, within generosity. And so Proverbs talks a lot about generosity, and I want to take you there with me. We're going to camp out in Proverbs today. So let's go to Proverbs chapter 11, verse 25. And it says, "Those who live to bless others will have blessings heaped upon them. And the one who pours out his life to pour out blessings will be saturated with favor." And the verse before that, it says, "Generosity brings prosperity, but withholding from charity brings poverty." And so generosity, it came from Solomon, who was the richest man during his time. And so obviously he discovered something that we should pay attention to, right? He was the wisest man during his time. And sometimes we can be a little bit stingy, or we can say, you know what, I don't have anything. But do you know that even $5 makes a difference when you're, for example, trying to feed somebody in a third world country? Even in your churches, where right now there is a need, making a $5 or $10 grocery run, or even giving $5 or $10 towards the pantry makes a difference. When we're generous, when we stop thinking about this belongs to me, this belongs to me, and we're generous, and we look out for others in different ways, with our time, with a smile, with a hug, with a call, with a FaceTime, whatever it is. When we are generous, with ourselves, who we are, with others, we're going to be prosperous, because there's a sowing and reaping spiritual law, right? And a lot of times we kind of hold on to things because of fear. And we're going to have to start letting it go, letting go of that fear, and really trusting God that He has us, and that we're being obedient and we're mimicking God. And part of finding out our identity is really diving into Scripture and understanding the nature of God. And Solomon obviously understood the nature of God, and God blessed him because of it. So let's go to Proverbs 19:17. And yes, I probably should have worn my glasses this morning. "Every time you give to the poor, you make a loan to the Lord. Don't worry, you'll be repaid in full for the good that you have done." So check that out. You can make a loan to the Lord, and you could take it to the bank, right? That He's going to provide for you. So let's go to Proverbs 22:9. So this was obviously, a topic that he went through, quite a few times, because it pops up in Proverbs quite a few times. So 22:9, check this out. "When you are generous to the poor, you are enriched with blessings in return." So when you are generous to the poor, you are enriched with blessings in return. And then the last one that we're going to read today is Proverbs 28:27. And it says, and I think, "You will never go without if you give to the poor, but if you're heartless, stingy, and selfish, you invite curses upon yourself." So you will never go without if you give to the poor. And sometimes we think, oh, the poor is a third world country. The poor is a child, out and Feed the Children. And although there's a lot of organizations out there that are great, that you can help out, there's poor here, right here in our own country. You must know of people that maybe they lost their job and they can't make groceries. It's so easy to go and do a small grocery run. Maybe you can ask them to give you one of their bills, you know, and say, hey, I'm going to help you out during this time. Don't worry. Or how can I help you? Maybe you know a family who's going to have a baby or have a baby, you know, and you can help them out during these difficult times. There's so many ways for us to be generous, so many different ways. We just have to find the opportunity. And then when we do, don't make a big thing about it. Just know that God is going to reward you, that God is going to give you favor. He's going to be saying, yep, that's my girl, that's my guy. He's doing exactly what I want them to do, to represent me, to represent my generosity, to represent, you know, how much, you know, I love them. And remember, you know, generosity without love, it's empty. It has to be with love, because that's what it represents, God. And since we're his children and we're here on this earth, you know, we got to represent God. We got to be like God. That's why I wore the shirt, you know, God's girl. Have a great day.